Hello and welcome to the show. We are discussing Champions League third round qualifying matches. Normally we don't actually start this early in the Champions League, but I was actually talking with Alex from Embiid Casino, and he was saying that you guys made quite a bit of money last week. Is this true?
Yeah, for sure. Me, I played also Wednesday, also Tuesday, also Wednesday, and like I had 80% of the tips coming as winners, so I'm expecting the same for this week.
Perfect. What about Stuart, Bernardo? Have you been betting this earlier on the Champions League matches?
I just did one bet on Champions League qualifier and was Steaua Bucharest +1 last week, and they draw 1-1, so it was a winner, but not more than that last week. It's very hard to approach the first leg. Well, Alex did very well, and well, that it's good, but usually it's kind of difficult.
That's right, and we're coming into the second leg now, so we've had an idea of how they sort of played, and I think it's a bit easier to bet on this round. Stuart, have you been backing the Champions League matches right now?
I've had a couple. First round, first leg, I had a couple of bets, most notably the Karabag, which came in quite nicely. I was happy with that. Apart from that, I've been fairly selective.
All right, fantastic stuff. Listen, on our panel today for our viewers, we've got Alex from mbitcasino.com, Bernardo Baltazar from TheOwlTips.com, and Stuart from tipsterhq.com. Also a lady cleaning my bin at this time.
What's her bet?
The moment that I press play, someone's going to clean the bloody bin. All right. So listen, we've got 5 matches. I think it makes it a little bit easier here. 5 matches on Tuesday. And I have to admit, I think this is the first time I've ever previewed matches at this stage. Some of the teams I don't know, some I don't know how to pronounce. There's a few that are sticking out here. We've got Bate Borisov, Ludogorets, as well as a team that I know, Dinamo Zagreb, another team that I know, Apoel. So there's a few teams there that is pointing out, and I've got a few leans, but want to hear what you guys are going for. Stuart, let's start with you. What matches are you looking at?
Well, I'm looking at 3, but I've got 2 bets I think are fairly solid, I have to say. I'll go through the matches first of all. Karabag against Butzen. You've already talked about Karabag. Dinamo Tbilisi against Dinamo Zagreb. And Dundalk against Bate Borisov. All
right, what do you like in those 3 matches?
Well, my top 2 bets, I have to say, are Karabag versus Butzen. Karabag to win. I think they're a fairly underestimated side. They're better than people seem to give them credit for, and they won me money last time out, so I'm happy to do that again. And also I'm going for a Bate Borisov away win, 2.0 on SBO bet. I thought those are pretty good odds for a fairly good side.
All right, Bernardo, what are you going for?
Well, I'm with 2 games similar to Stuart, just different lines. Karabag versus Plizen. Yeah, it's very difficult to beat Karabag in Azerbaijan. So I like very much the draw no bet option above 2. And more than that, I like the plus 0.25 around 175. So get something with the draw that I think that it's a very possible result there. About Dinamo Tbilisi versus Dinamo Zagreb, well, Zagreb already won at home 2-0. Now it's time to Tbilisi risk more, and Zagreb it's a team that is used to reach the group stage on Champions League. I think they can do it, winning the second leg too. They don't need it, but I think they can do it because, well, it's a huge difference of quality between these 2 Dynamos. And the line that I like there is the minus 0.25 around 1.9. I think that it's a valuable bet. And the last game is Apoel versus Rosenborg. Rosenborg, well, is more. They have more games. They are on more than middle of their season. But, well, Apoel at home, I think they can create some difficulties to Rosenborg. It's true that they lost in Norway 2-1, but at home, the draw no bet option is not a big hog, but around 175. I like it very much. So those are going to be my 3 bets for this second leg.
Yeah, I'm with you as well for the Dinamo Zagreb as well, 2.15 to win. I think, you know, just looking, there's no sort of major favourites, and I think that presents some great value for us as well. If you look at sort of the first leg, how they've performed, it's a lot easier than I think than doing when it's just the first leg and you're maybe unsure of the teams. You know, you can see how they've progressed, and then coming into the second leg, Dinamo Zagreb 2-0 in aggregate there. Yeah, I think they're going to win that. Alex, what have you got?
I'm going only with strong tips, which I'm 95% that they will exit. Me, I will bet medium to high stake on all 4, 2 from Tuesday, and we'll discuss after the Wednesday ones. From Tuesday, I have Apoel versus Rosenborg over 2.5 goals, priced at 2.1 with Betfair. The 2-1 it ended the first match. Rosenborg won 2-1, and I think that Apoel is forced to attack right now. They will score for sure, but Rosenborg is really good on the break, so we will see goals in this match. The second option is Red Star Belgrade with Ludogorets from Bulgaria. I think that we will see the first result was 2-2, so the best bet here is both teams to score at an odd of 1.75 with Bet365. They are both very offensive teams. They like to attack, and most of all, Ludogorets has to come back because Red Star Belgrade scored two goals away. So we will see an attacking game with both teams scoring at 1.75.
All right, great stuff. Anybody touching Bate Borisov versus Dundalk? Bate Borisov. Is that you, Stuart? Are you taking that one?
Yeah, that's mine. I'm taking that just above evens. I'm quite happy with that. I think Dundalk, not a great side, and Bate Borisov, they're another one of those sides like Karabakh that are, underestimated, and they should do pretty good. I have to say, I'm also with Bernardo. I think Dinamo Zagreb are going to win. I know he's not gone specifically for that bet, but I've got a little bit on Zagreb to win.
Yeah, amazing odds, I have to say. What do you guys know? Say more of the teams, the sort of the lesser known teams. Are you guys a little bit more savvy on that kind of thing, or are you going from the first leg, or going with the more well-known names at the great odds? How's your sort of betting tactic when facing these matches?
Me personally, I know the teams. I'm watching the third qualifying round. It's very simple and is really good that Stuart said about Karabakh, for example, that a lot of people, they don't know and they will underestimate that team. But us that we know who is playing and what players, because we saw a lot of good players also at Euros. One is playing at Dinamo Zagreb, one is playing at Ludogorets, and teams that you don't originally know them because you don't watch second, I would say, valuable championships from Europe. But all these teams have a chance to qualify at least in Europa League, if not in if Champions League, if they will pass this round. So it's a plus for each of them because they are looking at the money. With 10 million euros, one team like that will be 1 year without problems paying their players and stuff like that. So they will fight for this reason.
All right, great stuff.
Maybe not the Romanian side though, because they always have problems playing their players. So.
Yes, and there is, for example, there is some teams here. For example, Karabakh is a team with some money. Usually, it's a team with some investors, and they usually the front, the forwards, and the offensive midfielders and forwards usually are guys from South America. These, for example, Karabakh has two talent Brazilians up in the front. The same happens with Apoel, that also has not only Brazilians but Portuguese talent players. They usually these players are attracted for the money that they get paid on that top clubs on smaller countries. But I think that that's the way to approach these games is as at least a knowledge on how teams play, how they how they spend their money, because it's the qualifier for Champions League is very important for all these teams, but some know that it's very difficult to pass this qualifier and then face other teams that are much bigger. For example, Porto gonna play on the next qualifier. Roma, I think that's gonna play on next qualifier too. So. For example, Dinamo Zagreb will try it. I think, for example, Tbilisi, they didn't invest for this qualifier. They know that it's almost impossible to go through. So it's good to know the objectives and the goals of each team. I think that is very important for betting at this moment.
All right, great stuff. What's your tactic, Stuart?
Well, as a Tottenham fan, we've been in the Europa League and we've faced Karabakh last season. We've seen a few of these sides playing in the Europa League, and I tend to try and keep an eye on the leagues as they go through. Obviously, the Europa League is now where I try and make some money each season, and also Champions League as well. So these sides have popped up in the past, and you look at their transfers and the way they work, and they should be stronger.
All right, fantastic stuff. Okay, so just to recap here, I'm going for Dinamo Zagreb 2.15 to beat Dinamo Tbilisi, and then Bate Borisov 2.04 against Dundalk. Stuart, what are you going for?
Karabakh win, Zagreb win, and Bate Borisov win.
Awesome. Bernardo?
Karabakh plus 0.25, Zagreb minus 0.25, and Apoel draw no bet.
Awesome. Alex?
Apoel Rosenborg over 2.5, Red Star Belgrade Ludogorets, both team to score.
All right, awesome stuff. If you guys can email me those, I'll stick them to the score. I'll track them, and let's see how we do. Let's try and make some money. Champions League qualifying round, guys. Let's head on over now to discuss the third and the next day's matches.
See you there.
See you there.